Hi everyone, Chris Whitaker here. This is a short introductory video to using the SPAN Canvas platform for interactive engagement of students during an online teaching event. So SPAN is a software that was created by Nureva. Nureva is a Canadian company that makes interactive whiteboards. You don't need an interactive whiteboard to use it. You just need a browser, or you can load the app onto a smart device, a tablet or a smartphone, and you can access the SPAN Canvas there. If you want to get a sense of what SPAN and what Nureva does, you can Google Nureva SPAN. And you'll see, for example, here, you get a website that has videos that show you how to use SPAN in detail, much more detail than I'll give here. You've got lots of information about different kinds of actions that you can do with the SPAN canvas. And remember, you don't necessarily need a touchboard, an interactive touchboard to use it. So that's a little bit of about Nureva and SPAN, but I'm going to go into the SPAN workspace. So if you don't have an account, you need an account to run a SPAN Canvas workspace. If you need one of those, you can contact either Selma Hamdani or I at dalc@dawsoncollege.qc.ca. So that's dalc@dawsoncollege.qc.ca. Email us and we'll set you up with a SPAN account. I'm going to log into my account. Go. When you log into SPAN, you see, in this case, I have a number of SPAN canvases already created. You can create any number of canvases. Each one is a distinctly separate space. And I'm going to go into this one because this is one that I've created just for the purpose of this video. It's something that you might do in an introductory class to get to know your students. Or say if you're in a discipline like geography and you wanted to, get students to start mapping out countries from around the world and demographics from those countries, this might be a nice way to start. So a SPAN canvas is essentially a long pinboard where you can put notes, images, you can draw on it, you can connect things. So if you think of one of those old pinboards where you'd put up, notes and pictures and memorabilia, you sort of can fill this pinboard the way you would you can fill this SPAN canvas the way you would fill a pinboard. So I've already created a couple of groups here. I've created groups representing each of the continents, again, just as an example of what you might think of doing and how you might get students to work with this. And the important thing here is to remember that the canvas is a cloud-based document, much like a Google Doc, so that if one person edits it, everybody sees those edits happening in real time. So I've asked students here, I've got some instructions. I said, it begins by saying, welcome to our travel page. Please put a note in each of the continents you have been to. On each note, put your name and the country you have visited on that, the name of the country you have visited on that continent. So I'm going to go and do this. And if this was being done live with 35 students in a class, you'd be seeing things pop up all over the place. But on the left-hand side here, you've got a bunch of options, and one of the options is you can put a note. And so if I click the note icon, I then get this sticky note, and I can put my name and say that I've visited Spain. Good. So once I've done that, the note appears here in this bottom tray. I can enter multiple notes. So I can say Chris W. Hungary. I could then say another one, Chris W. India. what I can do is I can then take these notes and I can place them. So Spain and Hungary are in Europe. India is in Asia. And so I can do that kind of stuff. I can pin up notes, but I can also bring in other things. I can do sketches. I can write longer notes. These text documents allow me to put more than just a limited number of characters, but I can also import. So I'm going to import, for example, I'm going to import the Spanish flag. So I happen to have the Spanish flag on my desktop. So it brings the Spanish flag in. I'm going to also bring in the Hungarian flag. There we go. And so what I can do is I can then bring these in and associate them with the countries that I've visited. So there's Hungary, and I can bring Spain in. So you see, it's very much, you know, like a pinboard where you can put up images, notes, documents. You can put up PDFs. You can put up links to web pages, so that when students click on them, on the object, they go straight to that web page. It's really quite powerful. And so students can create these artifacts. So in this case, excuse me, just a simple collection of places that people have been in the class. We can then do things like we could process this. So say we decided as a class, well, let's separate. Say we were looking at history and we wanted to separate in olden times. We wanted to put Eastern and Western European countries, and we wanted to color them differently. So we could color the Western European countries as Eastern European countries, and then countries from the West differently, and so that everybody would do that spontaneously to their own countries. We might even decide to identify, once everybody's put up a whole bunch of countries around the world, identify countries where the Olympic Games have been held. So you can collect information in real time from multiple people through this cloud-based software, this Canvas. You can then process that information as a class. You can then arrange and organize and augment the artifacts in the web page, or in the Span Canvas, by adding images. You might ask people to upload a photo that they took while they were in that country, a flag of the country, and you can go more deeply than if you were to just say, well, tell me about yourselves, or if you're again looking at history, you could create a historical timeline, have students put down events that they've studied in the past that they are aware of, or maybe all kinds of things. So the idea here is that you have this interactive web-based canvas, this pinboard that you can have students share things on, and you can do this simultaneously while you're in Zoom, so it can be happening synchronously while you're in class and talking about what you're doing, or it could be done asynchronously. This could be something that could be set as homework. So you might say, okay, for tomorrow's class, I want everybody to find the demographic data for one of the countries that's on the Span Canvas, and post it up on the canvas, so that then the next day you'd come in and you'd have demographic information for all of the countries. And you could say, okay, I want everybody to go and find countries that have a population density larger than this as an activity. And so then it becomes this interactive artifact that students work with. So in a nutshell, that's a little bit about what Span Canvas is. Hopefully it gives you an idea of how you might use it. If you're interested in creating a Span Canvas account, please email us at dalc@dawsoncollege.qc.ca, and feel free to explore the videos on the Nareva website. Nareva also has a YouTube channel where there's a lot of their videos, instructional videos, so you can find lots of information about how to use Span. And we have some teachers at Dawson who use Span brilliantly. So if you're interested in being put in touch with them, we can do that through the Dawson Active Learning community. So that's, I hope, hopeful. And if you'd like to use SPAN, I would encourage you to explore and play with it. It's a great tool. Thanks.